Right, so this question here really is designed for the multiplier method, which I sort of looked at the end of question 27. Okay, so in my answer for question 27 at the end, I went through an approach using the multiplier. And here, it's really useful to use the multiplier method, simply because we've got to compound the interest here over 5 days. And if you read the question here quite clearly, right, this borrowing, the cost is 1%, okay, per day compound interest. Now it's compound interest, but it's per day, isn't it? So it's not like per year. It means 1% is applied each day. Okay, so here we've got Brianna, right? She's going to be paid in 5 days' time. So she borrows £700 for a 5-day period. How much will Brianna have to pay back after 5 days? Well, we'd have to work out 1% of this, wouldn't we? And then add it on, okay? And that would just be at the end of day one. Okay, so whatever that comes to then, you need then to work out 1% of that on day 2 and then add it on. Okay, and then, you know, you get the total, and then we do the same again, 1% of that on day 3. I mean, you go on and on, and of course that's for 5 days, and there's nothing wrong with that approach. Okay, it would obviously take some time to do that. Try it, and you get the right answer out, hopefully, if you are careful in your calculations. But of course, the other approach is to use, as I said, what I mentioned earlier, is the multiplier, okay? And we establish what the multiplier is, okay? Quite simply, we take the total that we start with, the original amount, £700, and we think of that as sort of like representing our 100%, okay? That's the whole amount, isn't it, that she starts with, Brianna. And then the cost interest is 1%, isn't it? Okay, so quite simply, to work out what she'd have to pay back after 1 day, okay, because the interest applied every day, 1 day, we'd need to add 1% on, wouldn't we? So if I add 1% on to my £700, okay, it's like adding 1% on to my original amount, 100%. So adding 1% on, I'm left with 101%, aren't I? Yeah. Okay, so I'm left with 101%. Now, as a decimal then, that would be 1.01. Okay, so that would be my multiplier. And you know, again, if you didn't know that what 101% was as a decimal, just type it into your calculator. Okay, 101% is just 101 divided by 100. Okay, and percentage, of course, always divide by 100, and press the SD, and it comes out. Now, quite simply then, 700. Now, if I times it by 1.01, what I would get is, I'd get the interest after 1 day. Okay, so if I do that, it comes out to be, but notice the answer is 707. So I get the interest for 1 day, but it also adds it on to what we started with. So you can see straight away then, after 1 day, she'd have to pay back £707. Okay, now I could sort of keep going like that. I could now take that 707 and then times that by 1.01. Okay, and I'd get then the interest after 2 days. Okay, so if I do that, and it comes out to be £714 and 07. So that's how much she'd owe after 2 days. Okay, the £700 which she borrowed plus the interest. So you could keep going. You could then times it by 1.01 again. But a much quicker way is just to take the original amount, 700, and just times it by 1.01, the amount of times the interest needs applied. So because it's 5 days, it'll be 1.01 5 times. Okay, so simply that. Okay, and again, a quicker way of typing this into the calculator then, as I showed in the last video, is quite simply, because you've got 5 of them, it'll be 1.01 to the power 5, and that will give me my answer straight away. So 700 times 1.01, and then the power button is there, the power 5, and I get my answer out, and you got £735.71. Okay, so whichever method you use, right, you'll get to the right answer. But of course, this approach is much quicker when you've got quite a few days or quite a few periods to sort of compound that interest.